Hello and welcome. I'm Anand Naidu, filling in for Riz Khan. He was the next big thing, celebrated as a reformer before he was imprisoned. What many believe were politically motivated charges. His 6 years in solitary confinement made him a cause célèbre around the globe. He's been a free man for 2 years, but is still banned from political participation. So why is he running for Prime Minister? On today's segment, we talk with Dr. Anwar Ibrahim, former Deputy Prime Minister of Malaysia and President of Accountability, an organization dedicated to transparency and sustainable development. Dr. Ibrahim, thanks for coming in. Welcome to the show.
Thank you, Anand.
Well, as I've just pointed out, you went to prison in 1998. You were in prison for 6 years. Then you were released. Then the High Court overturned your conviction for sodomy. What have you been doing since then, since 2004?
Busy traveling. First, of course, settle family, get them organized, get the children to proper education, then teaching job. I was at Oxford, St. Anthony's and Johns Hopkins, and the last was teaching a program and a course at Georgetown University. But now I'm back in Malaysia.
And now you're getting back into politics. You're planning on running for the position of Prime Minister in elections which could be held before the end of this year.
I've never been out of politics, Anand, but we are there for because of our commitment for a reform agenda, for freedom, for sustainable development, justice, and to ensure that the country benefits, propel its economy and benefit the vast majority of our people. When notwithstanding the decision of the court to deny me my basic right, after all, the court has been used by the ruling establishment, I will continue to exercise my right.
So when you say court is denying you your basic right, I presume you're referring to the fact that there still is a ban in your political participation in Malaysia.
Yes, until April 2008, which means most political observers say that elections will be held before that, towards the end of the year or early next year.
That's to preclude you from taking part in that.
Yes, that's how democracy works.
Right. So there are some obstacles you would have to overcome then. You would have, firstly, to get that ban lifted. And if you run for the presidency of the Keadilan Party, as well as run for the position of Prime Minister, that would be a violation of that ban, wouldn't it?
No, because firstly, you know that they use, but then the power, the discretion is given to the Registrar of Societies under the Prime Minister. And I believe, consistent with the Prime Minister's public pronouncements about fairness, justice, the rule of law, he will give due consideration to our decision of if the party agrees and the delegates approve, if I am made president of the party. That will be in May this year. And I believe there's every reason why Abdullah should seriously consider. I've served my period in prison and even then even extended beyond what is due. My term as during the period prior to the trial was never considered as part of the period which I was supposed to serve. And I have no problems at all with the prison guards or prison officials. They give me excellent, good track record. So I find it difficult to understand if Prime Minister Abdullah would disallow me from performing my task as president of the party. But elections is something else. I think it is going to be a very difficult case.
Well, let's look at a hypothetical situation that the ban is not lifted, that elections are called before the end of this year. What are your options then?
There are many other qualified candidates who contest. I will be free to campaign for all candidates, and they will support the party, they will support the leadership of the party. And I think in a democratic process, assuming the elections is free and fair, which is a long way to go, but I think there's a lot of interest in the international community looking at the vast improvement in Indonesia, in India, in Turkey. There's no reason why they should continue with these autocratic ways. But the point is, the party has to be strong and to be supported by the people, and we are working closely with the other opposition parties, the DAP one side and also the Islamic Party.
Well, we have a caller already. This is Anwar from Paris who's calling. Anwar, go ahead with your question.
Thank you, Anand. My question to Dr. Anwar Ibrahim. Malaysia has done tremendous amount of economical success over the last. What was the reason behind it, such a huge success in economical terms? And does it fit this method for other countries? Let's say for Malaysia has done this kind of huge economical improve. Indonesia can do the same thing, or other Asian or other countries around the world.
Okay, Anwar, let me put that question to Dr. Ibrahim. Anwar, they're saying that could Malaysia serve as a model for the rest of Asia, perhaps for other countries in the world as well?
In many ways, yes. Politically, it's been very stable. It's a multiracial, multi-religious country, but people have been performing their task in a very impressive manner. There's very reasonably good standard of education. We were at our height in the 1990s. What is not really known is that both in terms of growth, in terms of competitiveness, in terms of corruption index, in terms of foreign direct investments, Malaysia have gone much lower now. I mean, corruption index has plunged. And this, of course, are signs of concern. There's a lot of antagonism between races and religious groups, which we'll have to deal and contend with. And but to use part of our experience and example, I think is useful. Not the corruption, not the nepotism and cronyism, but in terms of the vibrant, industrious trading and business community, the peaceful coexistence between races, and some of the reasonably good and positive macroeconomic policies.
Right.
These things I think we can learn. But
okay,
don't learn the negative aspects.
Sure. Let's get a question in here. It's an email question from Ahmad in Kuala Lumpur. He says, as an ordinary Malay middle-class worker, I presume he wants to say, he says middle worker here, why should I support a party whose platform promises to take away what little advantage I have in this Malaysian society that is already so hard to survive within?
Yeah. This question relates to the issue of the new economic policy, affirmative action to benefit the majority Malays. Now, affirmative action per se can be considered. The poor, the marginalized must be helped. But what we are against, what we want to dismantle is a policy in the name of the majority of the Malays, hijacked, stolen, robbed by the few rich ministers and their cronies to enrich themselves. What do the poor Malays get? And why don't we consider a policy where we can help the poor Malays and the Indians and the Chinese, the Muslims and the Hindus together? The poor, the marginalized must be given assistance, public housing for all. But why must you allow for a house which costs $1 million and give preferential treatment for Malays for a 10% discount? It doesn't make sense. Why can't that sort of a facility be given to the vast majority who are homeless, who are the very poor, who cannot get access to good housing programs?
Okay, Dr. Ibrahim, we will continue this discussion. We're going to take a break right now, but we'll be right back with our discussion with Dr. Anwar Ibrahim in just a moment. Stay with us.